Over the past week, Nigerians have expressed frustration and in some instances, shock over the recent realities unfolding in the country. The beginning of a month-old warning strike action by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, the news of 100 million litres of adulterated petrol and its consequent impacts on the petrol supply chain, and perhaps the most shocking revelation of the involvement of erstwhile Commander Intelligence Response Team DCP Abba Kyari in drug trafficking were some of the stories that defined the second week of February in the year 2022. Our lens on issues today zooms in on the unfolding revelations of a drug cartel involving a top-ranking officer of the Nigerian police, Abba Kyari. To begin with, here is a brief on how the police officer came into the consciousness of many Nigerians. Prior to his gallantry performance in the arrest of notorious kidnap kingpins such as Chukwudi Onwodike, also known as Evans, and Bala Hamisu, aka Wadume, the name Abba Kyari was only recognized as the late Chief of Staff to the President. His outstanding performance as commander of the IGP's Intelligence Response Team soon earned him respect of many Nigerians, including top government officials. Other remarkable arrests by the Abba Kyari team was that of the killers of the late Chief of Defense Staff Alex Bade and kidnappers of President Muhammadu Buhari's ADC father-in-law. Now, the crack investigator who has won the Police Medal for Courage 3 years in a row was deployed to probe the attack on Samuel Otom, Benue State Governor. Wife of the President of Nigeria, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, has presented an award recognizing the gallantry of a police officer, Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari in Abuja. The House of Representatives in June 2020, during plenary, honored a Deputy Commissioner of Police, Abba Kyari, for his hard work and outstanding performance over the years in the Nigerian police force. But all of that was first stained by the accusation against Abba Kyari when he was dragged into the Hushpuppi saga after the U.S. Department of Justice quoted Hushpuppi as telling the court that he bribed the DCP to jail Chibuzo Vincent, an associate with whom he was locked in a dispute over how to share $1.1 million proceeds of a fraudulent deal with some Qatari business executives. Vincent was said to have alerted the victim and told him he was being scammed by Hushpuppi's syndicate. In 2018, Amnesty International and the NHRC accused Kyari of illegally depleting the assets of one Collins Ezenwa, a suspected criminal, after his team shot the man dead. Ezenwa's wife at the time said Kyari and his team withdrew money from her late husband's account and pocketed millions from his hotels. In October 2020, Kyari was accused of extorting 41 million naira from one Hafiz Mojid, a Lagos-based businessman. Mojid claimed the extortion was done in 2014 when Kyari was the officer in charge of the now disbanded Special Anti-Robbery Squad in Lagos. In the meantime, the Nigerian police have arrested Abba Kyari alongside 4 others. The Police Service Commission has also announced the suspension of an Assistant Commissioner of Police, ACP Sunday Ubwa, and Assistant Superintendent of Police, James Bawa, who both worked on the embattled Abba Kyari in the Intelligence Response Team of the Nigerian Police Force. Well, we'll be looking at all of that on the program today. I have in the studio MK Jibrin, MNI. He is the retired commander of narcotics, NDLEA. He'll be giving us perspectives on this recent revelation. Before that, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll begin our discussions. Please stay with us. Well, thank you for staying with us. This is Issues, and we'll be taking a look at the issue of focus today, which is the recent revelation of the involvement of a top police officer in drug trafficking. Well, thank you for joining us in the studio, MK Jibrin, and to share your perspectives with us.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Nigerians.
Well, first, let's get your reaction on this recent, arrest by the well, first discovery by the NDLEA and then subsequent arrest by the Nigerian police. How does this come to you?
Very disturbing, very, very disturbing news. To say the least, because of the caliber of person involved, we are worried because we don't expect to have this incident at that level of a security chief, so to say. So the issue is disturbing.
I mean, these are people, for instance, the Abba Kyari himself, these are people that are supposed to be collaborators in the fight against drug trafficking. But again, they are collaborators on the other side in the sense of drug trafficking and, and all of that. With this kind of scenario, how do we foster that interagency collaboration that we've always talked about? Oh,
well, the interagency, collaboration, synergy remains intact. These kind of incidents happened most of the time without even people noticing. It becomes very glaring now because he's a top security agent, a top security officer. And that's why we're discussing it all over the country now. Most of the time you find at the lower level, officers get themselves entangled in one activity or the other that does not concern their department or that is not supposed to be, kind of some forms of illegality. But coming from a very top person in the security circle, people become worried. It becomes very worrisome because it sends a lot of signal to the outside world and even nationally. However, because the issue is still under investigation, the arrest and handing over of the officer to NDLEA has just taken place. The investigation is still fresh. We may not be able to get into the in-depth of the discussions today, because that would be maybe prejudicing the investigation process, particularly coming from my person, being somebody of influence in the organization where it's being investigated. So we'll not be able to do details of that here. But what we can say, the signal it has sent is that it is disturbing and it's worrisome, and it sends a lot of signal that is negative to the outside world. That for all the country is doing, there can be people like this. There are still people like this that still connive with drug dealers. But investigation will bring out the truth about the whole thing.
All right. Now, already we are already seeing people who are trying to give this a tone of some kind of interagency rivalry, that exists between the Nigerian police force and the NDLEA and all of that, saying why are some of the officials who were involved from the NDLEA were not really mentioned, but we've seen that the Abba Kyari was, kind of being, the only person fingered and all that.
Like I told you, the handing over of Abba Kyari to NDLEA was just 2 days back now. It's just a 48-hour thing. And NDLEA has come out openly to say they have nothing to hide. Their officers are involved. At what level are they involved? Investigation shall bring that out. For anybody to start speculating, to start maybe airing his perception on the issue now, like I said, will be prejudicial to investigation process. What we've had at the initial stage is that the NDLEA said these officers were playing along. There was a video released, I don't know if that is in the public domain now, in which the officer was agreeing to everything that was being discussed in the car. That is playing along.
Yes, that video
that is playing along with the person you want to get arrested. Whatever he said, you agree, so that he will reveal in totality what his intentions are to you. If the NDLEA's role is actually in that line of playing along in order to get what you want from somebody, investigation will reveal it. If actually there are NDLEA officers who are equally deeply involved with him, the investigation will reveal it. And the one interesting thing about issues like this is that along the line, we're also going to know if there are previous actions of this type by the same person that has not been uncovered before. Investigation will uncover it. As they dig deep into this investigation, we're going to see if he has been doing it before, if there's a first time, if those involved with him now have also been his partners in crime. If no, they are not his partners in crime, they were just doing their job to get these nailed in the bud. Investigation will bring all that out. But as for the synergy between police and NDLEA, no, it has not dampened any enthusiasm from both sides. The police and NDLEA relationship remain very close, very intact. In fact, if it is not, they will not have handed over if you notice, within 24 hours or 48 hours of NDLEA declaring the officer wanted, the police turned him in. They arrested him and turned him over to NDLEA. That shows that there is a cordial relationship between the two organizations, and there is no friction in that. And they don't want this case to be the cause of friction between the two organizations. That is why they immediately hand over to show by the police that they have nothing to hide on his side. And for NDLEA itself to have come out to say there are officers who are involved along with him shows that NDLEA too has nothing to hide about their officers. But the investigation has commenced, and we're going to see the level of involvement of every person in this job.
All right. Now, from what we know so far, according to the statement released by the NDLEA, Abba Kyari, in this sense, was the person that reached out to and one would wonder, I mean, this is someone who is said to have been suspended from the force, and then again, he seemed to have a lot of information of a seizure that has been made by his team, such that he is now spearheading some sort of a deal on behalf of the team. So it appears that this is not the first time. It looks like something that the boys or the team that he works with know that, okay, when we have such a seizure, these are the things that we could do around this and all of that. What do you think about it?
You see, in security parlance, there is what they call once a soldier, always a soldier. Once a general, always a general. Once a commander, always a commander. In other words, even if you're out of service, because you said he has been suspended from service, his position is no more holding the position he was holding in the country as the head of a task force. All that has been removed from him. But still, the boys contacted him. Yes, once a leader in the security circle, you have made that connections, you have that influence, you have that followership among particularly the junior boys that work with you, and even your mates or your superior officers. Because of the good times you had while you are there on that position, people still feel those your connections can be used as a position of influence to get certain things done. So even if you are retired from service, there's likelihood that you will still be contacted on certain things to get certain things done. Because people want to tap from your experience on while you are there, how was this done, when you are there. That is the same manner in which those who want to do crime, those who want to do it negatively, they know that while you were there, you had an encounter with the negative people, with the criminals, and you are able to subdue them. What is the way out? How was it done? You see, that is why they say it is always dangerous to train an officer, equip him, and then throw him out of service. Once you do that, if he leaves that service as a disgruntled person, he's likely to join forces with the other side against his society. But if he leaves happily, he will still work for the system. He will still work for his nation.
In which case, sometimes it depends on the person to take a decision to leave happily, to leave the service happily. I mean, like in the case of Abba Kyari that we've seen, he has been dragged into the hush puppy matter, which led to his suspension in the first place. I mean, is the state supposed to now suffer for his involvement in some kind of shady deals?
We are not in any way saying the state take him out of service wrongly. Now, what the state did was completely correct. Once you are found wanting in connection with criminal activities, even before the process of investigation, you are supposed to leave your office, and that was what was done in this case. If after criminal investigation, you are found to be clean, not wanting, it was a setup, he was just roped in, he was not involved, the investigation has revealed all the roles he played there, that it was for positive, you can be restored into your position and given your full responsibilities. But if it was found out that, yes, you are culpable, you are not returning to that position, and you cannot say the state has done you anything bad in that instance, you're leaving the service if personally to you, you still feel this going through, you should feel remorseful, rather, that you have even done the nation wrong. Rather than prosecuting you, they just relieve you of your position. So that a person is relieved of position and is not happy about being relieved of position, that is personal to him. What the state has found out to be inimical to his existence or to his progress is what should be done. I mean, is the line to be followed, the procedure to be followed, and that was what was followed in his own case. He was found to have gotten himself entangled not only with hush puppy. You read out the catalog of things that happened along the line. It was beyond hush puppy alone, and that was how he was taken out of his position. But what we're saying is that he has attained a level of dignity before that incident happened. As such, there are people who still sympathize with him. There are people who still see Abba Kyari as a role model till today. Until this NDLEA case come out, there are people who are still saying even that hush puppy thing is not...
Exactly. So should we be concerned, about his influence now? Because that's also another thing. Yeah. At a point in time, the whole country, there was an ovation for an officer of that caliber. Even the National Assembly, as a matter of fact, I mean, House of Representatives, to be precise, had a session where they honored him, and all of that. The pictures and, the videos are everywhere. So when you look at that, level of, honor that was given to him, and you look at this other things that he do on the side, what does that say about what we know about, people in our security officials? Do we have some kind of, focus on, their lives and the kind of involvement that they have, even with the position that they are occupying?
Definitely, definitely. And that is where the press should come in. There must be focus on our leaders. There must be critical assessment of our leaders at every level, at every stage. That Mr. A is so popular at TC because he's doing the right things to get the nation move forward. Doesn't mean he may not do the wrong things at a point. Doesn't mean mistakenly or deliberately or by error of his activities that he's doing, he may not fall out of the road at a time. But if you have the press being constructively critical of our public officials, they try to avoid the mistakes, not to talk of even deliberately doing it. But where the society is so relaxed, and because this man is a big man, he can't do wrong, then you are giving him just a pathway to commit all sorts of atrocities on that seat. In his own case, like you said, there are a lot of ovations all over the country, and that is why I say till today he may still have his sympathizers until this NDLEA case come out. And once you have attained that position, your followers remain fanatical behind you. No, Mr. So-so cannot be culpable of this. No, he should have gone beyond.
In fact, we've heard
no,
people even say that maybe this is all a conspiracy against him, maybe to some have said the idea is to stop his extradition to the United States over the hush puppy case. Some have said, well, he's just being framed to blackmail him because of how much he has performed, his outstanding performance and all of that.
Actually, there have been a lot of expression of perceptions, different perceptions on this issue. But what I want the public to know is that the man through which this case is coming out, the personality of the man, the integrity of Buba Marwa. Buba Marwa cannot be used. He has demonstrated it evidently. You cannot use Buba Marwa to blackmail somebody. If there is no any smoke screen, you can't come to Buba Marwa and say, put fire on that day, or that is fire that is burning, expose the fire. No, he's not that kind of person. So for this to have come out this way, there must be a load and load of evidences underground, which investigation will unravel. Is somebody that the nation should have, just like you've read the accolades of Abba Kyari, and then all along something happened. Buba Marwa has had accolades that is unblemished. So the speculations out there that is a setup, it's rivalry between NDLEA and police, have just debunked that, because if it is rivalry between the two agencies, they will not even hand him over. They will say they will do their investigation first before they hand over. But they immediately handed him over to NDLEA. Right now he's in NDLEA detention, facing investigation. So all those perceptions can go on out there. But I want the public to believe that the present NDLEA leadership cannot be used to blackmail anybody for political reasons, for economic reasons, for financial reasons, to satisfy foreign interests, or whatever that is going on out there. People should just discard such perceptions and wait for the outcome of investigation.
All right, now, I mean, talking about, investigation, from what we saw in that video, Abba Kyari was already having some hard currencies, which were meant to believe that these were proceeds from about 15 kilograms of cocaine that have been sold already, and that a percentage of that was to be given, to some NDLEA officials and all of that. So definitely some people bought this from him. Are we likely to see an arrest of this person? So,
definitely, as investigation starts right now, we'll get to the roots of everybody that has a hand in that cocaine. Those who have bought from it, those who have brought money to buy. If somebody has shared that money with him, everything will be unraveled by the investigation process. We are likely you are going to see more and more arrests in the days to come.
All right. Now, there is normally supposed to be a communication channel, between the Nigerian police and the NDLEA in terms of seizures, where another agency aside the NDLEA has been able to make seizures of drugs and all of that. There's a procedure of handing over. The statement put up by the NDLEA says that efforts have been made to get Abba Kyari to respond, or to, he's been invited to come and, answer certain questions that have been raised by this and all of that, but that was, frustrated and all of that. Who was supposed to be responsible for that communication? And what's the ideal procedure, of this such handing over of, seizures by other agencies?
The ideal thing is when you make seizures like that, like they have made, of kilograms of cocaine, even if it's grams of cocaine, no matter how small or how big it is, you go to the leadership of your organization. And the leadership of your organization doesn't necessarily mean to be, say for instance now police, to be IG. In case of NDLEA, it doesn't have to be the chairman, chief executive officer. The leadership at that place where the seizure was made. If, for instance, the seizure is made at Abuja airport by police of drugs, cocaine or whatever type of drug at Abuja airport, you have the commander of the airport there, police commander, overseeing the airport. The issue gets to him. All he needs to do is to inform the IG or to inform the commissioner of police under which he is working that social seizures are made, and is handing over to the commander of NDLEA at the airport. The two leaders at the point of duty do the handing over to each other. Then the NDLEA man will also inform his headquarters that police made social seizure of cocaine and they have handed over. They don't necessarily have to take the thing to police headquarters where the IG will do formal handover to NDLEA. At its annual or monthly or weekly reports or press briefing, the IG may announce it. Within the month, our formation as social command made social seizures belonging to NDLEA, belonging to SSS, belonging to these other organizations, and proper handing over was done. That is all. I think in this case, that was not followed. When the seizure was made, he on his own doesn't have to call an NDLEA officer to start making arrangements. If he is the head of that place, like we told it is at Enugu Airport, there is a commander of Enugu Airport, NDLEA. The handover should be done to him there. If he is not answerable to his commander at Enugu, because different organizations have their setups. You may see a custom officer at the airport now who says working under federal customer service, investigation service. You must have your commander within that zone. Take the issue to your commander within that zone, who now hand over to NDLEA commander within the zone itself. So for him to keep it and call an individual and NDLEA to start contacting, that is why it is wrong. The procedure is wrong. In
the first place, like we rightly said earlier, the team, in Enugu weren't even supposed to reach out to the Abba Kyari in this case, because, there's supposed to be someone who is in charge there, and all of that. So all of these gaps, what does that say about, some other, officials, security agents within the police who are also working with Abba Kyari in this?
All these gaps that are left create room for the doubt for which has resulted to what is happening now. That the process is shady and it's not genuine. If those gaps have been closed, and they could be closed, and they are easy to be closed because there are procedures, laid down procedures like I've stated earlier, the processes you meet to hand over if you are genuinely doing it. But if you open up those gaps and want to jump any of the process to do it on your own, through another individual, not the leadership of the commands, the gaps create doubt that what you are doing is not genuine, what you are doing is suspicious, and it needs to be investigated. Because even eventually when such items are handed over, so people will still have some suspicion that maybe there was tampering with the exhibit. NDLEA items, the drugs, the substances, are things that are so delicate that even if it's an NDLEA officer himself that makes seizures, they say you should immediately look for a witness before you even get to your boss to hand over. Get a witness at that point of seizure to witness you that this is what I recover. 1 kg, 2 kg of cocaine, 1 kg of cannabis, 2 kg of cannabis. Have a witness that will sign as a witness on the form, on the paper, or even if it's a piece of paper you're going to write it, somebody should sign, countersign, and that person will be your witness when you are handing over. Because the substance, it can be suspected that you tamper with the substance. You did your genuine operation, arrest, a seizure at your working point. You recover drugs, maybe from a traveler at the international airport. Now, while you are searching a bag, you saw kilos of cocaine in his bag. The next officer standing by you should be your witness. Even if that officer is not an NDLEA officer, police, custom, immigration, because if you see how the system works, they do joint operations in most of the points now where they work. You may be standing alongside with a custom officer, an immigration officer, a SSS officer. Call him to witness you immediately. That is what you have seized from this bag before you now hand over. Because by the time the substance gets to your boss, the suspect, the person, the owner, may say, no, it was more than that. You removed some and hid it somewhere. Or no, what I was carrying was not up to this. You added some things to it to implicate me. Because some of them don't know that quantity does not matter. If you are arrested with 1 kilogram of cocaine and another person arrested with 100 grams of cocaine or 10 kilograms of cocaine, it is the same offense and you will be tried for the same offense. But the suspect can deny. The suspect can even outrightly deny that thing was not recovered in his bag if you don't have a witness. So the procedure is that you must get a witness immediately you make seizure before you hand over.
And in this case, that was not
followed. That was not done. So those gaps were left.
But in the case of, inviting Abba Kyari, who is now been suspended, what are the channels? Does the NDLEA reach out to Abba Kyari directly, or it goes through the Nigerian police or the Police Service Commission?
Through the police, the Nigerian police, through the IG's office, to hand him over. This is the information we got about so person, and we want to investigate him. The NDLEA goes through. Once it gets to that level, at a very senior officer's level, or where an officer of another department has to be handed over to you, it has now go to follow the channel up to the top of that organization. I told you the process of handing over, you don't have to go up to the top to hand over substances. You can do it from the command there. The leaderships of the commands can hand over and take over. But when it becomes a criminal issue, and you want to investigate an officer of another department, you have to go to the leadership of that organization. The information has to go through the leadership of that organization. So person your organization has committed, is suspected to have committed social offense. We want to investigate him. Nobody has said he's liable, like I said, until the investigation is completed. Okay,
but in this case, the NDLEA have raised, concern about the fact that there were efforts to follow these channels to get Abba Kyari to come. But there was no result for that, and it was delaying, it was taking too long, and that they couldn't continue to detain other suspects in the same case without without charging them. And so the delay from Abba Kyari was dragging the whole matter. It looks like someone is trying to shield Abba Kyari from within the Nigerian.
No. I will debunk that immediately, because that is the public perception. The procedure is not just you go there and pick him immediately. No. You can go there and pick him immediately if at the process the substance is still in his hand and he's refusing to hand over. And you tell his boss and he says he's not handing over, he wants to go and do certain things first. The boss can hand him over there. NDLEA, take him away, whatever your outcome. But where the process has taken this procedure and there are some people arrested in the cell already and connected to him, you have to go through his boss to get him. And bureaucracy comes in protocols come in. You write to this, or this will speak to this. That one will give instruction to B or C, for B or C to release the A or B under him that are working under him. So it was that process of channels of communication from NDLEA to the police boss, who will now pass information to wherever unit Abba Kyari is, or whoever is responsible for getting him over to bring him out. It was that process that caused the little delay, not that there was any friction.
So was it necessary for the NDLEA to declare Abba Kyari wanted in this instance?
Oh yeah, when the NDLEA perceived that the delay was not forthcoming, well, police had made it abundantly clear that it was the procedure they were following. NDLEA perceived that the delay was getting longer, and that was why they declared it. But the police said they were following the procedure. You do not just come and say, I want an officer from your department for investigation now, and we hand over to you. We have to follow the procedure to get him out. The procedure doesn't mean they will do their full investigation. No. The IG will tell the command where he is serving, or the heads of unit where he is, Abba Kyari is serving now. NDLEA want this person for so reason. So get him over to them. That one too, we get down to the unit where he's serving to get him out. It was that process that just caused the delay. Well, because of drug issues, the sensitive issue of drug matters, we could not wait for too long. I say, get him out now. And that was what brought about the declaration wanted declaration.
All right, well, we'll take a short break, and then when we come back, we'll continue our discussion on this subject. Please stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining, you're watching Issues. And the issue of focus today on the program is about the involvement of a top Nigerian police officer in drug trafficking. And we are looking at that with MK Jibrin MNI. He is a retired commander of narcotics, NDLEA, giving us perspectives on what we need to know about this. Now, this case of Abba Kyari just happens to be the one that the public gets to know. Yeah. But there are a lot of involvement by other security officials in this kind of shady deals, sometimes at the borders and the likes. Yeah. How have we been dealing with this, and how can we deter further occurrence, by, officers who are supposed to be collaborators in this fight?
A lot of officers have lost their jobs, both within the agency and sister agencies, on issues like this. And I told you those ones go unsung because those ones are problems you can solve easily from the commander there. Issues can be resolved immediately. Resolving the issue in the sense that those people could be prosecuted immediately. You find officers, even at the international airport, if we may start from there, for instance, a passenger is traveling, you don't know him from Adams, simply because you want to play the boy is good to him. You meet a man at the car park, he says traveling abroad, you collect his bag to assist him into the departure hall, clear his goods and let him go. Or you know him somewhere before. And as soon as he comes to the airport, you collect his bags, the luggage, to help him clear them to the aircraft without allowing your colleagues at the screening points to do their job. Officers do it a lot. You just pick a man's bag from the car, at the car park, you come into the hall, allow your officers to search that bag. You don't know if they have information on it. You don't know when this man packed his bag from the house. What are the contents? What are the items inserted into the bag? You don't know. You collect the bag, you get to your officers at the screening point. Oh, this man is my uncle, it's my friend, it's my brother, it's my daddy's brother, it's from our village, it's our king. Please let him pass. Familiarity. You pass the bag without allowing it to be checked. Unfortunately for you, maybe by the time the bag is passing through the screen, The man monitoring the screen will see certain items inside the bag that are not supposed to be or suspicious. Officer, bring this bag. Let us check it properly. You keep insisting, no, you can't search this bag. It's for my uncle. It's for my brother and whatever. If that bag is eventually searched, you are forced to get that bag searched, and incriminating items are found on it. Let me zero it to, since we are discussing drug. Drug is found on it, you are culpable. You will be charged along with the owner of that bag. Indeed, the owner of that bag may deny that at the time you collected that bag from him at the car park, that you are going to help him through, he doesn't have drug. He didn't have drug. You inserted this drug in it. I don't know how you come about the drug. The bag I carried from my house does not contain drugs. So you should answer for it. You see what? Some officers do this out of greed, because by the time you help some people of influence in the society to pass through the screening without being searched, they feel very comfortable that you are giving them honor. You have honored them.
And
but this man gets abroad.
Giving tips of some sort.
This man gets abroad and gets screened, and he will not complain. But here you don't want him to be screened. If any item incriminating is found in the bag of that man, you may be culpable alone. You may carry the cross alone if he denies you. If you are lucky he didn't deny, you'll be charged along with him for aiding and abetting drug trafficking. And the punishment is 15 years or 10 years to 15 years. So in that case, it means the moment you are caught with that bag and the bag is containing drugs, first we report to your department. If you are not an NDLEA officer, you will inform your department, this is what you were caught with. Carrying across the screening point, your department first stop your job. You are first suspended, eventually terminated or dismissed from service to face trial with NDLEA. There are a lot that happens like that, almost on weekly or monthly basis. Officers fall into the trap. So many have lost their job through these drug deals at the airport, innocently or deliberately.
So now, how can we deter officers from doing this? Sometimes it's done maybe innocently, maybe just to show honor for persons. And then sometimes, with certain motives, maybe to get some tips or maybe to get some money and all of that. Sometimes intentionally, it is even done, knowing that this person have some incriminating items in their luggage, but yet they go ahead to do such things. How do we monitor, effectively the operations of officers at that level? And sometimes you have not just those doing the checks, but even their superiors at some point are also, involved.
Liable, yeah. Some superiors are liable. I agree with you. And what they do is, as soon as in such situation where superiors are liable, they know the person coming and what he's carrying, and they now send one of their boys, go collect his bag, take him out, tell the custom, tell the NDLEA, tell the other security agencies that he's my brother, he's your Oga's brother. The moment they say, he's the commander's brother, he's the director's brother, everybody will want to give him that honor to pass. But you never can tell one small officer somewhere has information on that bag. We've had a situation at Murtala Mohammed International Airport where a top traditional ruler in this country was stopped by a very junior officer in one of the services. The boy insisted that the bag of the traditional ruler must be searched. We never knew he had information, genuine information on this man. But he said if he discloses it to people, maybe his Oga will have influence on him, or some other people will say, you don't do that, let him go. Don't implicate yourself. After everybody has cleared this man, including his own department, this boy was still insisting, let this particular bag be searched. And lo and behold, when that bag was searched, it was loaded with cocaine at the first bottom of the bag. And that was how the traditional ruler was, so to say, embarrassed, because eventually, traditional ruler will not hold the bag himself. They have followers when they are traveling. People that go with them, people that travel with them, holding the bags. The thing was zeroed on that person's head. That one of those accompanying him on the journey is the owner of the bag, and it should be searched. It was later this boy told us that right from his palace, anytime he's traveling through this process, this airport, they stuff his bag with cocaine. That he got the information from a journey, so that was why he insisted. Imagine such situations. Your boss said, allow this traditional man to go. You will allow him, isn't it? But you never can tell who has information on it. So let every person pass through the normal screening point. Once they get abroad, nobody recognizes them as maybe you're a traditional ruler, you're a politician, you're a senator, you're a rep, you're a governor. No, you subject yourself for screening. So why can't we do it at home? So as to even send positive signal to the public that Nigerians are clean. And you particularly, you are clean. I will give kudos to one person here, Femi Falana. It's a very popular critique that everybody knows. If Femi Falana is passing through any screening point, even if you say go, he will not go. He will insist you must search him. He will make himself available with his hands up that he must be searched before he crosses.
All right, now...
And that is how we want Nigerian leaders to behave.
All right, let's talk about protection for junior officers who are at such places and they genuinely want to do their jobs. But their superiors seem to be culpable in this. And, you know, sometimes it can get really very risky, you know, doing this. How can we guarantee their protection? It could be risky, it could be messy for both sides. It could be risky to the junior officer most of the time. And the protection, like we always say when we do sensitization, even at meetings, is be very sure of your information. Doesn't matter that you're a junior officer, if you are so sure of your information, no matter what stand your boss takes, and you are taking the other stance. If you are sure of what you're doing, search the item. If the luggage is found to be containing incriminating items, your boss will start begging you even. But if you are not sure of your information, don't argue with your boss, because he will feel you are embarrassing him. If the item is searched and nothing incriminating is found on the luggage. So, but if you are sure of your information, do your job. That is sensitization. When we do the same thing with other security agencies, joint enlightenment programs at the border post, either seaport, land border, or airports, is we also tell them, stop interfering in each other's duties. Where you as an NDLEA officer, you are crossing the custom points and they want to search what you are carrying or even your person, allow them. Where you as a custom officer, you are crossing through immigration point and they want to check you, allow them to check you. Your refusal will spark off suspicion that you are carrying something. That's why you don't want to be checked. So the sensitization is let every department do its job. But the risk, like you said, to the junior officer, I don't know why you are sympathetic with junior alone. The risk to the junior officer is that he can easily get victimized. Let's face it. If your boss said, don't do this, don't search that bag, let it go, and you insist on searching it, and eventually nothing was found on that bag, it's either you get transferred from that place, removed from that place, or even given query for embarrassing your boss in the public. You know, so that is the risk. But I say it could also be messy. It could be risky to the boy, to the junior one, who could get transferred or sent out of that place. It could be messy because it could mess up the boss. If the boy has genuine information and he insists, Oga, let's search his bag, and the bag was searched, Oga is the one now to be punished. Once the information gets to the headquarters, the boss is either removed from that place, demoted, put under investigation. He can face all sorts of embarrassment. Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about the NDLEA, you know, generally speaking. In recent times, we've seen quite commendable efforts by the NDLEA. Very striking, you know, arrests, you know, such as this recent one. What has changed really? Because the NDLEA before now, at least for the past few years, is not one of those agencies that you really hear such high level you know, investigation and arrest and all of that. What has changed, you know?
What has changed in NDLEA is that leadership has changed. What has changed in NDLEA is that motivation of officers have changed. What has changed in NDLEA is that the welfare of officers is being considered now as a priority. Most of these things are lacking before. Starting from the leadership, like I mentioned, the leadership has changed. We've had leaders and we've had leaders. But we have a leader now that says the job must be done. We've had leaders that are themselves nonchalant on what is being done at what place. Who is doing what? What are the gadgets you need to do the job? Do you have it? You don't have it? What is your welfare? What is the standard of motivation in your organization? They don't just bother. But you have leader now who say all these things must be put into consideration and is pursuing it. And the officers are feeling it. And so they are queuing in with him. A leader that will go from point A to point B all around the country to motivate his officers, to talk to his officers, not just a leader that will sit in the office throughout a year or two or even a week. Since he came into the organization, he has not spent one full week just on his table. It's either it's here or there, on operations, on admin, on policy issues.
Okay, now, this recent arrest, is that an indication of an increase of cases of drug abuse, or just merely operations that have been upscaled?
It means operation has been upscaled, not increase in drug abuse. No, I mean drug trafficking. It means operation have been upscaled. Operation is now more serious than what it used to be. What people should be thinking is that, so all these things are happening, and we don't know before. It was covered. I'll give myself to you as an example. When I got to Kano Airport as a commander, I got there after 16 years of the establishment of that place as a command. The Aminu Kano Airport, you know, is the oldest airport in Nigeria. 16 years after NDLEA existed in that place, they have 5 arrests. In 16 years, 5 arrests of cocaine, heroin, whatever, going abroad. I got to Kano Airport, and within 2 years, we got 38 arrests. Within 2 years, we got 38 arrests. You cannot say maybe there's surge of drug now passing the place. So, but what it means is that drug have been passing here before, and that was what motivated me more to do more. The governor, most of the leadership in Kano said, what they was giving me when we go for security circle is thank you. So drug have been passing Aminu Kano Airport like this before, and we don't know. Thank you for coming to do this in our town. We never knew this volume of drug has been passing here before. So what is happening now? It means operation has been upscaled.
Now, finally, to conclude on this matter, what do you look out for in the coming days, with regards to this issue of Abba Kyari's arrest?
Well, in the coming days on this issue of Abba Kyari's arrest, we will see more arrests of those involved. We will see detailed investigation, maybe one of the best we've had at the top level of involvement of top officers in crime in this country. You will see one of the best, most detailed arrests in this case, because the leadership will leave nothing to chance on this issue, so as to clear the whole doubt and different perceptions that are flying all over the social media now. Investigation will be detailed. You will see more arrests of those involved, and it will serve, the outcome of investigation will serve as deterrent to those who are doing it right now and they've not been uncovered, and to those who want to do it in future. They will be deterred by the outcome of this investigation.
Are you worried about our judicial processes?
Very, very worried. I thought you were not going to touch that.
Because sometimes after the arrest is what follows that is of concern, to some Nigerians. So really, the judiciary.
I was just thinking silently that you should not touch that area, because that is one big area of worry for NDLEA officers. It's not arresting the cocaine dealer, the cocaine trafficker, the drug user, and prosecute him that is a problem. NDLEA will do that for you 24/7 if you give them the right atmosphere. But our worry is that when we get to court, the laws, the status quo, the laws are there as it should be. It should be from 10 years above, 15 years above, up to life imprisonment. That is NDLEA sanctions, punishments. It's written there. But what we find today when we get to courts is judges use their discretion. Oh, this is first time of committing offense. The law may be a bit lenient on him. Somebody who is expected to go for life imprisonment may get just 5 years imprisonment. Somebody has taken cocaine of, we are talking, this one is about 15 kg now. You can have people who will go for 30, 50, 40 kgs of cocaine, of which you are talking of billions of naira. And you are giving 5 years imprisonment for somebody who is into the crime that runs into billions. 5 years imprisonment is nothing to him.
Okay, so can you, before we go, I mean, what are, according to the laws that we have, what are the possible, punishments for such an offense by Abba Kyari, for instance?
Conspiracy is 10 years above. If you had conspired with some people to pass drugs, to traffic drugs, you get nothing less than 10 years above. If you are the one doing it yourself, he owns the drug, just ask somebody to buy for him, he's a baron himself, and he wants to distribute, 15, 25 years. Those are the laws.
All right.
So the investigation, whatever investigation find out that is his position. And if he is free, he walks home. He walks on free. No matter what uproar is there now, if investigation brings him out free, that no, he's not the one involved with this, it's a mistake, this is the situation, this is the real situation, investigation will reveal it. And he can walk on free if he's free. But if he's culpable at any level, conspiracy to pass drugs, culpable himself, is the bearer himself and whatever, he faces the law as it is.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming on the issues today and for sharing your perspectives with us. We really appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. We've been speaking with MK Jibrin MNI. He is retired commander of narcotics, NDLEA, and he's been the one giving us perspectives on this very subject. With that, we've come to the end of the program for today. Join us again next week for another time on the program. You can always catch up on our YouTube and also connect with us via our social media platforms. I am Ayuba Ile. Thank you for joining.